From a princess plunging off a cliff to a Hollywood star crushed by his own car, to burning alive at 130 miles per hour, this is how celebrities died in the most shocking car accidents ever. And spoiler, while some went instantly, others suffered in ways that'll haunt you. But first, let's start with the death that shook the world. Princess Diana. August 31st, 1997. The People's Princess left the Ritz Hotel in Paris with Dodi Fayed. Just after midnight, they jumped into a black Mercedes, while paparazzi chased them on motorcycles. The car entered the Pont de l'Alma tunnel at high speed, lost control, and slammed into a concrete pillar. Dodi and the driver were killed instantly, but Diana survived. When first responders arrived, she was conscious in the back seat. She looked up at the firemen and asked, "Oh my God, what has happened?" The crash had torn her pulmonary vein. Massive internal bleeding. From the outside, she looked okay. Inside, her body was shutting down. In the ambulance, medics fought desperately to keep her heart beating. For nearly an hour, she slipped in and out of consciousness. Then at 4 a.m., Princess Diana went into cardiac arrest. Doctors opened her chest trying to repair the vein, but the damage was too severe. She was declared dead at 4:53 a.m. But at least Diana had people trying to save her. This next driver? People just watched him burn alive. Roger Williamson. July 29, 1973, Dutch Grand Prix. The 25-year-old F1 rookie suffered a tire failure at high speed on lap 8. His car flipped completely upside down. Fuel leaked out and caught fire. Williamson was alive inside the cockpit, trapped upside down, strapped in, unable to move as smoke and fire surrounded him. Fellow driver David Purley stopped his car and sprinted across the track. He tried pushing the car upright with his bare hands. Too heavy. Flames spread fast. Purley shouted for help, but track marshals hesitated. No protective gear. They stayed back. Williamson's screams could be heard from inside, still conscious, fighting to escape as fire grew hotter. Purley grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed frantically. Not enough. After several agonizing minutes, the fire consumed the cockpit. The screams stopped. Broadcast live on television, millions watched a young man die slowly, painfully trapped while help stood meters away. And sometimes, death comes with a warning that nobody takes seriously. But at least Williamson's crash looked catastrophic. This next death? It didn't even look that bad from the outside. Dale Earnhardt Sr., a famous Daytona racer, who was flying his final lap. Oh, and for context, the Daytona 500 has 500 laps. Wild, right? The man in the black number 3 Chevrolet was a legend known as the Intimidator. And as he rushed toward the final turn, his car made contact with another vehicle and slammed head-on into the concrete wall at 155 miles per hour. At first, it didn't look fatal. There was no fire, car wasn't torn apart, but inside, it was completely different. The collision caused a basal skull fracture. That's when the base of your skull breaks, where it connects to the spine. This injury isn't always instant. For a few seconds, you stay conscious, feeling intense pain and struggling to breathe before your body shuts down. That's what happened to Earnhardt. Rescuers reached him fast, but he was unresponsive. The most untouchable driver was gone. His death led directly to massive NASCAR safety changes, including the HANS device to prevent head and neck injuries. But if you thought that was tragic, this next guy literally made a career surviving crashes on screen, only to burn alive off-screen. Paul Walker. The Fast and Furious star hopped into a red Porsche Carrera GT. Only 1,200 were ever made because they were insanely hard to control. Around 3:30 p.m., the Porsche hit over 90 miles per hour on a quiet street. Seconds later, it lost control and smashed into a curb, then a tree, then a lamppost. The car exploded into flames instantly. But here's the part that'll haunt you. The coroner's report revealed Walker didn't die on impact. The autopsy found smoke particles in his airway, meaning he was breathing when the flames started. Paul Walker burned alive, fully conscious and unable to move. The man who lived for speed died slowly, trapped in a burning car he couldn't escape. And speaking of burning alive, this next celebrity suffered the exact same horrific fate. Ryan Dunn, who was a Jackass stunt performer who spent his career doing dangerous stunts for laughs. But on June 20th, at 3:30 a.m., Dunn was flying down a Pennsylvania highway at over 130 miles per hour in his Porsche. Bad idea, taking into account how many celebrities actually died in this same car. Suddenly, he lost control. The car shot off the road, smashed through a guardrail, and slammed into a tree. The impact tore the car apart, and within seconds, it burst into flames. Surprisingly, the impact didn't kill him. He and his friend had blunt force trauma, but they also had thermal injuries. That meant they were alive as the fire engulfed them. Witnesses saw a fireball so intense they couldn't get close. Dunn died burning in the wreckage with no escape. But at least Dunn was speeding and breaking every rule in the book. This next celebrity? She was just driving normally when her own body betrayed her. Grace Kelly. September 13th, 1982. The Oscar-winning actress turned Princess of Monaco, a symbol of elegance and Hollywood royalty. That morning, she was driving with her daughter along the winding cliff roads of Côte d'Azur, dangerous mountain curves. Suddenly, the car veered across the road and broke through a barrier, plunging over 120 feet down a steep embankment. Rescuers found her daughter alive but trapped. No explosion, just silence at the bottom of a ravine. Later reports confirmed she'd suffered a stroke while driving. The moment she blacked out, the car became a missile. She was flown to a Monaco hospital, still alive but critically injured. For 24 hours, doctors operated on the brain hemorrhage and fractures. Too severe. She died at 52. Millions mourned not just a princess, but the fairy tale ending they believed in. And speaking of tragic timing, this next artist was on the verge of a massive comeback when everything went wrong. Lisa Left Eye Lopes, April 25th, 2002. Multi-platinum R&B star. She was in Honduras recording a spiritual documentary, behind the wheel of an SUV, with friends and crew inside. She swerved to avoid another vehicle. The SUV lost control, flipped multiple times, and crashed into a ditch. The impact snapped her neck. She died at the scene. The crazy part? The entire trip was being filmed. The crash and her final moments caught on camera, later released in a documentary. Her death came just as TLC was planning a massive comeback. Her absence ended one of the best-selling girl groups in history. The death of James Dean isn't less shocking either. Hollywood's brightest star at just 24. Already an icon from Rebel Without a Cause and East of Eden. That afternoon, Dean was driving his silver Porsche 550 Spider, nicknamed Little Bastard. Days earlier, actor Alec Guinness warned him the car was cursed. His exact words, "If you get in that car, you'll be dead in a week." Dean was heading to a race when a Ford suddenly turned across the highway. No time to react. The Porsche slammed into it head-on. The impact was so violent the lightweight Porsche was thrown into the air before crashing down in pieces. Dean was pinned inside the twisted metal. The collision was so strong that it had broken his neck and crushed his body. He died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital, not instantly, but fading as they tried to save him. But here's the reality. Over 1.3 million people die in car crashes every year worldwide. That's an entire major city, gone. The most dangerous time to drive? Midnight to 3 a.m. on weekends. And remarkably, many of these celebrity deaths led to major safety improvements. NASCAR's HANS device, vehicle recalls, defect fixes that saved countless lives. But I guess we'll save that for another video.